Welcome into Washington Football Talk. I am Tom Downey, here with a look at the future of former highest-paid safety in the NFL. That is Landon Collins. USA Today says Collins is on the roster bubble this year for the football team, which not sure I agree with. Now, USA Today also said, hey, he's still probably going to make the roster. I do understand at least part of where they're coming from. Landon Collins might not be the best safety on this roster anymore. As we'll get into, Kam Curl really emerged and wowed and impressed while Collins was injured with his Achilles. And Collins also might not be good to go in time for week one. And Collins does have a $17 million cap hit this year, which Washington can barely save any of. More on that later on. Here's where the football team sits at the safety position, knowing that they can and should give Collins and Curl one linebacker, quote-unquote, reps and more big nickel packages. Bobby McCann will be the team's free safety. There's some decent depth there with Forrest and Everett and Jeremy Reeves. And, hey, maybe Troy Apke ends up not being terrible this season. But I think the emergence of Kam Curl has really put the pressure on Landon Collins. A late-round pick out of Arkansas, Curl was an awesome and pleasant surprise for the football team last year. He looked like the team's best safety, which is not something I think even Kam Curl himself predicted was going to happen in his first year in the NFL. And because of the contract differences there's been some speculation about maybe the football team could move on from Landon Collins. In 7 games last year, again, he was hurt. Collins wasn't great. He continues to have issues in coverage. He is much, much better hanging out near the box than anything resembling a true single-high free safety guy. 41 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 pass breakup interception. Numbers that were down, again, in part due to the injuries, but down overall still, I'd argue, than what he had in 2019. 117 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 4 pass breakups. Again, he was still not great in coverage, and as big as that deal was, I think there is at least some level of some, buyer's remorse for the football team. So let's say you are the GM of Washington. What would you do with Landon Collins this offseason? Type in K for keep him or type in C for cut him. Now, I understand the desire to potentially dump Collins if that's the route you want to pursue. In the end, though, I would keep Landon Collins at least for 1 more year. I think if you move on from Collins and Kam Curl regresses, or if he gets hurt, then you're thin at safety. And if there were money to be saved, I would be singing a very different tune. But there's not. Even if you make Landon Collins the old post-July 1st or June 1st cap cut, you save under $206,000. You don't save anything. That's not even enough to bring in a new player, not even close to it. That's way less than the vet minimum. So because of the money that you can't save, I say keep Collins for 1 more year, and then next offseason, revisit this in depth.